What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Doors to Deals episode. I'm your host, Caleb. I have Jim with me here today, and we are interviewing Tristan. Tristan's a rock star agent building a great portfolio. Looking forward to hearing about how he's got going into real estate and where his success has come. Welcome, Tristan.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So we were talking a little while back, and you were telling me about your portfolio, and you've done it. You've been an agent for 3 years, right?
I think I'm going on like four and a half or so now, I believe.
Four and a half. Still extremely impressive. And then how many doors do you have total right now?
So as of right now, I'm at 46 doors.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, 46 doors in 4.5 years. Congratulations. This is a little round of applause for you right there. That's super impressive. Starting out, I'm sure, what would you say, what was the hardest number of door to buy?
As far as like a deal or just trying to get to?
What, like from your 0 doors to 1 door, 1 door to 2 doors, where did you feel like roadblocks and ceilings that you kind of ran into?
Gotcha. So my first door, I didn't really feel, I feel like that was probably my hardest door because obviously to me, that was the most risky door because I didn't have any doors before that. So it's kind of like, oh, should I be doing this? And then after that, it was pretty much easy from there. For me, at least it was. I mean, I didn't, if I see a house I want, I buy it. I don't worry about it. I don't stress. I don't get it in my mind and start to have analysis paralysis or anything like that. If I want it, I take it.
Nice. Yeah. A lot of people, I've heard the phrase, it's harder to buy your first door than the next 10. So that's what I was kind of going to see if you had that same opinion. So many people going from 0 to 1 is way harder than 1 to 10 or 10 to 30.
Yeah. What's the difference now buying a house compared to before your first one? Like what's going on in your head that's different?
Well, so my first one was a little strange. My first one was actually a flip, I should say. And then after my first flip, I actually bought my first rental property. But my wife did not want me to buy any properties. We had $3,750 saved in a savings account. That's all we had. I was an agent for about a year and a half. I billed everyone else, but that's all the money we had saved up. I told her I was going to go buy a house. She told me no, and I went and bought it anyway. So that was kind of my hardest thing to do was to be like,
disclaimer, this is not marriage advice from Tristan.
So now it's a lot easier. Doesn't even know how many properties we have.
So she's okay with it now because you're making money on it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so you just did it anyway. So did you just sleep on a couch for a couple months until you made money on the deal, or how did you manage that dynamic and have her?
So it's definitely nice, our dynamic. So she basically takes care of the kids, and how we kind of set it up is I don't have any control of what she wants to do with the kids. If she wants to homeschool them, she homeschools them. If she wants to buy them a new pair of shoes, she buys them a new pair of shoes. But she doesn't necessarily have any control over where the money is spent. And she does a little bit, but it's how we set our marriage up, and it makes it easy because I don't have to ask her if I want to go buy $1 million property. I just go buy $1 million property. I don't have somebody that's saying, oh, well, what about this or what about that? I do all my own checks and balances, and I make sure that I'm taking care of my family, basically.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to, do a multitude of things in business, really. Like when we get into trouble, as you grow teams and organizations, it's when you don't know, whose decision is something, or who do I go to? Do I go to this person A or person B, right? I really like that. So, and that's what works for you. I guess you kind of have to find what works for you, don't you?
Yeah, and that may not work for everyone.
So early on, starting out, where did a lot of your education come from? Did you have mentors? How did you get going into real estate?
All right, I only got a part of that question. I'm going to try and switch my internet over here too and see if that helps at all.
So, what do you think? Should we just juggle or something?
No, I got something. What's a good nugget you got from a book recently, Jim, that we could share with everyone right now? What's your favorite nugget from a book in the last week?
Oh, the favorite nugget. Well, I've been really focused on relentless solutions focus. And I studied that a couple of months ago, and I've been trying to do that every day. And what happens is, if you're focused on a problem, different chemicals kind of engage in your in your brain, and it makes you less likely to be able to do things and to succeed and to find a solution. So it's a mental process to help you get unstuck and go through and get into the solution based mode. And when you're focused on solutions, and there's, I don't know if people listening have a sports background where you've been in the flow, or just for whatever reason, you just have a great day and everything seems to line up. Well, there's differences with where your mind's at and how you're thinking about them. And anyway, so really the nugget from that book is, if you find yourself stuck, give yourself 90 seconds to think about that problem, and then ask yourself a powerful question. What's one thing that I can do to make this better?
I have an interesting story around that. One day I was having a really bad day and I didn't go through my morning routine, and it was like 10:30. I was like, today sucks. Like, nothing I was doing was going right. I actually went home and I jumped up. I said, you know what? I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to eat breakfast again. I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm going to completely restart my day and scrap everything that happened the first 3 hours of this day. And I ended up going and having a freaking kick-ass rest of the day, and rocked that day out by just restarting and resetting my flow, because I was definitely out of the flow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And this drives my kids. Well, it's going to drive them crazier when they get a little older. My daughter, she's 8 now, and we were driving to the soccer game for her. And literally, so my youngest is 2, and he's screaming just the entire ride to the game. And Maddie had some homework and she had some other stuff going on, so she was already upset, and she's dealing with us. And what I told her is, I said, hey, you have a choice right here, right now. You have a choice to let that linger and have that impact the game, or you can just let that go and focus on having fun on the game and end up making it a great day. So I was really proud of her, because she was able to just let it go and kind of be a kid and work through it. But I kind of think that, whether today's great or not, is really our decision. It's really
what you focus on expands. What you focus on.
That's definitely true. That's what I've seen too.
Back to where I was at. So starting out, where did you find a lot of the knowledge? Where'd you find the know-how to know how to do deals?
Yeah. So for me, I was an agent for, I want to say, probably about a year and a half before I started finding any deals, before I started doing anything like that. And I've seen I've always been a guy that wants to try and make a bunch of money, essentially. So I've seen a bunch of my clients doing it, and I'm like, man, I got to figure this out. So the first thing I did was I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad as the first book I read in real estate. And then after that, I started reading about, I would say I probably read a book a week or a book every 2 weeks for almost a year. And when I was listening to podcasts, I was reading books, I was watching YouTube videos, and just learning. I generally try not to invest in anything I don't know. So if I don't know what it is, I'm probably not going to touch it until I learn what it is. And so that was a big part of my stuff. I just focused on it for probably a good year. I would say between 9 months to a year. I focused on real estate investing, rentals, flips, all that kind of stuff.
You know what's really interesting about kind of like that agent dynamic? I was just thinking about this, is everyone thinks real estate agents make so much money, so much money. And really, real estate agents don't make that much money. The average income is $25,000. Now the top 10% are making a killing, right? And then you think about real estate investors, whereas there's more millionaires created from investing in real estate than any other industry. There's almost every millionaire and billionaire has real estate holdings that they've invested in. And the amount of agents that don't actually invest in real estate is the amount of agents that invest in real estate is only 7% of active licensee real estate agents. And so you and I, you're this way. You and I, when we start out as agents, in the agent world, nobody talks about investing. They want to help investors, but nobody wants to be investors. So it's cool to hear a little bit of how you overcame that gap, because you probably saw that, hey, being an agent isn't going to get me the income that I want. I need to also supplement this.
Well, the whole reason you sell real estate, or really any job for that matter, is to turn around and buy something and build wealth. Like that's how you become financially free. That is the game, right? And if you're just caught in whether it's real estate or being a doctor or whatever, right? Like that's the rat race. I trade my time for money, How do you get out of
Yeah.
that? Well, you take the money, you save some of it, and you invest it into an asset that's going to make you money, right? Hey guys, for those of you that are local to St. Louis, I wanted to make sure you knew about an amazing resource that we have to help do some extra deals. You can email our team at deals@3doors.com. And just so you know, we do deals with other investors all the time. Like, it's been hundreds and hundreds over the years, and we've averaged over 100 deals with other investors per year for over the last 5 years. We can straight up buy the deal if you have a wholesale under contract that you want to sell. If you need funding to finance a flip, or like you're doing a burst strategy, we have funding available for you. If you're trying to wholesale a deal, we're doing JV wholesale deals with other wholesalers that, quite frankly, some of the deals we're putting together for a beginner or an intermediate investor, they'd probably be walking away from because we have systems and processes, and we have buyers in place that are paying top dollar for these properties. So make sure you use this resource. And the best way to get and the easiest way is to just send us an email, deals@3doors.com. All right, back to the episode. Like, that's the rat race. I trade my time for money. How do you get out of that? Well, you take the money, you save some of it, and you invest it into an asset that's going to make you money, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, I turned my first year in real estate, I think I sold about 5 million in real estate my first year. And then my second year, I think I was up to like 7 or 8. And then my third year, I want to say I was somewhere around the 12 million. And then my fourth year, I've slowed down significantly because that's now I have all these properties and I'm doing all this property management and everything too. So I've slowed down my real estate business significantly just to focus on the properties, because that's where I see my wealth coming from versus making, 150 grand a year in real estate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Making 150 grand a year isn't going to, you can't retire. You have to continually work and work and work. And you're only as good as your next deal. But with real estate, I love that. Every first of the month, I think it's in 2 days. And maybe 1 day.
Yep. I'm already getting the checks.
Yeah. Come through. I know my bills will pay next month. We're looking good. But it's like being an agent, especially right now in a market like this in December, I'm like, whew, because I still do. I love the hustle of being an agent still, but I know I got to make those phone calls every day. Whereas an investor, you don't.
Yeah.
So you saw the investors making money. You thought you could do it. Your first deal, what was it? What did it look like?
So my first deal was a flip. That was pretty cool. I bought a tiny little house. I paid $25,000 for it. I had $3,750, like I said, in my bank account. That's what I put down. I put everything we had down on this first flip. My wife was not happy. So I ended up doing that. I put about $51,000 into the property. So total, I had, $76,000 all in. It took me about 3 months. I did hire some contractors. I got ripped off a couple different times from different contractors. I did try to do a bunch of the work myself as well. Things like that, and just again traded my time for money. But it was my first property. I really wanted to know how it went and how to work it. Once I did that, I ended up selling the property. I got a full price cash offer at 118 on it. So I ended up doing pretty good. I had 76 all in, and then obviously my time and stuff, and I sold it within 3 months. So it was fantastic, and that's what basically launched me into buying my first rental.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. And then your first rental, what were the numbers? How was that structured?
Yeah, so the rental was awesome. It was a duplex, and it was over by the military base. And this place used to be a laundromat and a deli. A laundromat and a deli turned out a single family home into that. This place was terrible. It had a giant black jacuzzi tub with orange carpet around the whole thing. That ended up being a lot of my deals have been very eye-opener in learning the deals. That one I paid $32,500 for a duplex. It's probably 3,800 square feet. It's huge between both sides. Well, we got in there and we were planning on doing a certain amount of work to it. We were planning on being all in at $135,000. We did end up we were able to stay in that budget. But we did end up finding out the city came in and said, hey, you have some electrical tape on some electrical lines here. So we want you to gut the entire place. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I didn't have that budgeted to gut the entire place. And now since it's gutted, all the electrical has to be all brand new now. So that ended up costing us an extra about $30,000. But for me, I always make sure I have extra money set aside on my construction loan just in case things like that happen. Now that was really close to maxed us out basically. We were able to get that done, and now that place, it's a two bedroom, one bath on one side, and a 3-2 on the other side. And I rent that place for, I want to say it's $1,500 a month for one side and $1,200 a month for the other. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, the duplexes and fourplexes are nice to start out, get multiple doors. We're big fans of single family. Jim and I, we love our single family rentals, but duplexes can be a good way to start for sure as well.
Yeah, single families is my favorite by far. So I'm in the same boat with you guys. I have quite a few single families. I love them. They're so much easier to rent. They're going to be so much easier to sell if I ever need to sell them down the road, stuff like that. So
yeah. So moving on, as you did the duplex, when did you transition to single families?
So the duplex, and then I bought another flip after that. So I do a few flips per year, not many, but just enough to basically equate my taxes from all my depreciation and stuff like that. So then I don't have to pay taxes on it for the most part. So I do a few of those. I think my first single family, I want to say, was probably within 6 months, because I ended up, all my real estate that I bought, I would say, let's call it 40 doors. I bought 40 doors within 2 years. So I from that first flip all the way to 40 doors, it was about 2 years. So I think I'm up to, I would say probably half my portfolio is single family homes, and then the other half is all multifamily.
Are you doing how are you doing the financing? Are you doing like a burst strategy, or what are you doing there?
So I do not put any of my own cash into a property. I probably have negative $50,000 invested in my properties. So how I do it is I always do construction loans. I'm very, very big fan of leverage, and I do not want to be over leveraged. So I'm trying to be really careful with that. But how I do it is I do a construction loan. Generally, my banks want 15% down of the actual purchase of the property, not the construction funds. And then at that point in time, I go through the progress of the property and I pay myself. Once I pay myself out of the property, I get my 15% back, essentially.
Gotcha. Interesting. That's a unique structure to be able to pay yourself and get your money back. I like that, though, to be in a real estate with no money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the best thing, because then I don't have to worry about it. If something were to happen, God forbid, I don't want anything to happen. But if something were, then it's like, oh, I lost all these properties or something. Oh, I didn't lose any of my own personal money. In fact, I've gained multitudes since I've had the properties. But I don't plan on any of that happening. I try to stay at about 60% loan to value ratio. Some are up there around that 70%, but I try to stay a little lower than 70.
Nice. That's 70% is a really good dollar amount if you can buy them that cheap. It got a little tough last year, but now it's starting to get really, really easy.
So what's your price point?
So I generally stick to the cheaper homes. I really like the cheaper stuff because I'm okay with doing the construction of the remodel. So whereas a lot of people, they buy those homes for 100, 130 and only put 15, 20 into it. Probably the least I've ever put into a home would be about $50,000. So as far as construction budget goes, so my homes, I generally stay around the 25 to about 70, 60 range or so is what I try to buy.
Yeah. So the thing to be careful on the percentages, guys, for those of you listening in, you can get a more of a discount on a purchase price at 80% if the property's like $600,000 than at 50% if the property's $50,000, right? So when you do percentages, just make sure that you're aware of on the extremes, the percentages doesn't necessarily work right. You'll hear, if you Google it online, you'll hear like ARV times 0.7 less repairs is like the price you should be buying to flip a house at, or 0.75 or right. So just be careful on that as you start to get to the extremes. That you need to adjust that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cash flow changes a lot in the lower ranges to the high ranges too. So just review every single deal you guys do and make sure the numbers work. That's our disclaimer for this episode.
That's exactly true for sure. So
Yeah. So with the market adjusting, rates going up, where do you see yourself moving to? Where are you transitioning your business so you can succeed through this high interest rate market?
Yeah, the interest rate doesn't affect me as much as it would just because my type of loans, my portfolio loans that I get. I mean, my interest rates are still 4.5 at banks when I go get a loan today. It's the same as it was when it was, because I don't do the 30-year fixed loans. All mine are amortized over 20 years. They're 5-year balloon loans, and then I refinance them after 5 years. And so that's what because I work with a lot of small town banks and they're loaning their own money. So it's a lot easier to get the deal done because you don't have any of those federal regulations that you got to go through. But on the other end, it is a 5-year loan. But the nice side too, it's not on my personal credit. So if I want to go buy a new truck, they don't see any of my properties on there. I don't have a credit score because I don't have a credit with 15 different properties or whatever. So that's kind of nice there. So I'm going to continue to stick with what I'm doing. It seems to be working well. And I don't really want to change too much. I know I'll have to change a little bit. And at that point in time, it's just trying to find deals at a little bit better price to be able to fluctuate with that.
Well, and yeah, how are you viewing the market right now? Like, is it still same buying and holding, or are you going to slow down a little bit more, speed up a little bit more? What are you doing from a acquisition standpoint?
Yes. So my goal is to get up to 100 doors. However long that takes, that's how long it takes to me. I'm not like in a hurry, but I'm actually a minister as well. And I want to go into full-time ministry. And once I get 100 doors, I'm essentially going to retire and be able to do that. So that's my ultimate goal. Now I'll probably still buy some doors here and there, but that's when I'll probably slow down. So if I found a smoking deal, if I found a property that had, or somebody was selling 15 single family homes or something, and it was a great deal, I'm going to look into it. And if it's something I want to buy, then I'm going to buy it as long as I can get the financing, which I work with a few different banks. So it's a little easier to do that. So, but I am slowing down a little bit. I'm trying to get all my projects done basically.
Yeah, definitely get the projects done. That is key.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any more questions, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, congrats on it. That's amazing that you're that clear on your vision and what you're working towards. That's really amazing. I mean, my take on the market and what's going on now is I really think it's an outstanding opportunity to buy. And not only that, but the thing that confuses me is how there's a lot of uncertainty, or there's a lot of people not sure, oh, should I buy or not right now on the investing side. And if you're buying and holding, the short-term market conditions and fluctuations, you're not really exposed to it. If you're buying and holding, it's okay, well, interest rates are a little bit high now. I plan on holding onto this house for 30 years. If they're high for 5 years, is it that big of a deal? And actually, you probably are going to make more money on it buying it now in today's environment, because you can buy it at a price that factors in that higher interest rate. And then when interest rates go down, you can refinance it. And now you have a bigger delta than what you're able to buy a property at before interest rates even went up. So that's kind of with us too. I guess really it depends on the exit strategy.
That's exactly true.
Yeah. So sorry, Tristan, go ahead.
No, I was saying, so I mean, and that's exactly true. I mean, that's what I've seen as well. And my thing is, you should be able to buy in any market. It doesn't matter if the market's down, up, if it's a seller's market, a buyer's market, whatever it is. I mean, we had a massive seller's market here within the last year and a half or so. It's been maybe even a couple years. It's been, and it's been incredibly difficult. But I mean, I just found a deal. Just from going into Home Depot, actually. I go in there. That's where I spend most of my money. I mean, I buy a lot of stuff from them, and they all know me there. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, I got a buddy that wants to sell his house, and I just found this deal." I mean, we're still in somewhat of a pretty decent market now, and I ended up getting this house for $65,000. This thing is in great shape. It's it probably really only needs. I mean, I'm going to do a little bit more to it, but it probably only needs $10,000-$15,000. And as far as rent, I mean, I could probably get $1,400-$1,500 a month out of it. It's a single family. And that's the same thing. I mean, a city employee called me one time because they all know me, all the inspectors and all that stuff. They called me up and said, "Hey, we have a house we want to sell. You want to buy it?" "Yeah, sure." I bought that place for 45 grand from them just this happened this year, and I'm renting it out for $1,400 a month right now. So the cash flow is killer on it,
So overall, how would you feel like just investing and buying and holding real estate? How has that blessed your family? Like, are you glad you've done it?
Yeah, I am. I mean, that is that's a huge thing for me. Is just I'm trying to set my family up for life. Essentially, something were to ever happen to me, God forbid, anything like that. My family is going to be set up. I have things in place to make sure that they're going to be taken care of. I have 4 kids and a wife, and I want to make sure that they're taken care of. Yeah.
I echo that. Like, that's the experience I've had with it too. It's been a huge blessing for my family as well. And really, I mean, I can't encourage you enough. Be like Tristan, go out and buy some real estate. And what's cool too about some of the resources available is if you like the idea of passive income, you like the idea of becoming financially free, but you're like, oh man, I don't know if I would be a good landlord, or I don't know if I even have the time. I like my job right now. That's where we come in. Our team, I don't know if we don't really talk about this a whole lot, but our team has generate over $189,000 a month in passive income for investors. Last year was what we were doing. So if you have it in your heart that you want to learn more about the passive income thing, please reach out to us. A good number is 314-310-4886. And we can definitely open up that conversation on how we can help. And then Tristan, as far as how people get a hold of you, what's a good way to connect with you?
Yeah, you guys can reach out to me if you have questions or anything like that. My number is 618-900-1007.
All right, right on. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks. Have a good one, Aaron.
No problem.
See you guys. Thanks so much.
See you guys.
That's a wrap, guys. For additional resources, go to doorstodeals.com. And don't forget, we're already generating over $186,000 per month in passive income for people in our world. And we're just getting started, and we can help you out as well. So if you want to grow your passive income, we have multiple options available. The first step is for us to get to know each other better. Give us a call or send us over a text message at 314-310-4886 to get started. And finally, go out, live your purpose, and above all else, go after your dreams. Till next time. Thanks for tuning into this show. For more episodes and resources that will unlock doors to deals, check out our website, doorstodeals.com.